Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. Today is May 15th, 2021, and we're on Season 2, Episode number 25. We're on a lovely Saturday morning, Andy. How are you doing?
Doing well. Yourself?
Doing good, doing good. It's supposed to be 70s now for quite a stretch. No rain. It's supposed to be good weather here.
Fishing opener here in Minnesota this weekend, so good for that.
I'm going to the St. Paul Saints game tonight. I'll have a full report on Wednesday's midweek show on the experiences, what it's like, kind of taking in the whole thing. I'm going to take a lot of photos and do a slideshow presentation of that. And so I'm looking forward to that. We're going to get there a little early, go through that museum. St. Paul Baseball Museum is inside the CHS Park field that you can go through for free. So I'm going to check that out and report back to our listeners on Wednesday about how that looks.
All right. Yeah, not much excitement with the Saints so far this year, record-wise, but it's early. And we'll see what's going on. Mets minor league system, Syracuse isn't doing very well right now either, so there's no joy in mud there either, but it's early. Use that story for a couple weeks.
Nice. I got
a
trivia question.
Yes, let's do that. Before we go to the trivia.
All right, trivia question. This is interesting with a local twist to it. The FCS title football game is Sunday, tomorrow. South Dakota State, the Bunnies, the Jackrabbits and the Bunnies are playing for their first ever national title in their first ever national title game. It's farthest they've ever gone in history. That roster for the Jackrabbits has a large amount of Minnesota natives playing on that team. How many Minnesotans graduated high school from Minnesota are playing on that Bunnies team that'll be featured on ESPN tomorrow in the national title game? So the question is, how many? There's a bunch. But do you know how many? That'll be the question for today.
We'll start out then with the big FCS championship game. Sam Houston State University will be the opponents for South Dakota. The Bearcats of Sam Houston. No championships from either. I looked at their roster. You'll hear a story about high school football in Texas and football in Florida being big, high school football big. Kind of like hockey is here. Basketball is in Indiana, football in Texas and Florida. So I looked up Sam Houston's roster based on your trivia question. 0 Minnesota kids. I think the farthest north they went was Kansas. I mean, there was almost 80% Texas kids. Good for them. I mean, Woog made a career out of it at Minnesota for hockey, so with Minnesota kids. So I'm not going to shame them for that. Sam Houston's got a good squad. South Dakota State is favored by 4.5. The over/under is at 47.5. Okay. And I'm going Sam Houston with the points and the under. Telling you that right now. South Dakota State looked great against Delaware in the semifinals. They just crushed them. But because we were talking about Delaware last week, how they only had 8 games in, and they were undefeated, so maybe they're a sleeper. And I think South Dakota State used our press clippings from that and all the other press clippings going, hey, Delaware's undefeated. Let's not, we can't take them lightly. Let's not get scared. But I don't know if South Dakota State wasted all their energy in that game. I don't know. Every team's different. You look at that, you get the blowout game in the playoffs. It's not good the next week. That's kind of why I'm going with Sam Houston on that one. Sam Houston's had some tough games in the playoffs. Woke them up, realized it's not going to be an easy path. So Sam Houston with the under and take the points. Don't bet the farm and the animals on that. That's just been big mouth talking. There's nothing behind all of those guys for that. Other stuff we got before we get into the high school things. The Oakland A's are looking at moving again. They finally get the Raiders out of there. They figure that the stadium themselves, they could, update the stadium. I know Dave Stewart got into buying it, the former pitcher, not the Eurythmics guitarist, the pitcher. Got into ownership for that a little bit. Now let's look at the A's might move. Some of the three big spots coming up are, as in their cities we brought up a few weeks ago about relocation, Vancouver, Portland, and Las Vegas are the big three right now. I even saw one list had Mexico City listed on there. The one that's scaring me right now is Vancouver and Mexico City on those two, unless we find out more this summer about travel restrictions because of the pandemic. I mean, the poor Toronto Blue Jays have been playing either in Florida or in a bubble. Haven't been their beautiful Sky Dome in a year and a half. So I don't know if they'd want to move a team out of the country right now, unless things clear up in the next year as they're fighting all this. Who knows? Portland might be the lead. Some people are saying Vegas is the lead. Yes, sir.
One other thing, I watched yesterday a promotional video of a proposal of a new stadium in Oakland, near the waterfront.
Yep.
So I don't know if that is just a ploy to keep them at home to avoid them moving, but they've got plans in the works for a new district near the waterfront in Oakland to house a new Oakland A's baseball stadium there. So I don't know if they're going to move or not, but I watched that yesterday. It's pretty well done, but it might just be a play of the card there.
Yep. And them wanting to move might be their way of speed up that process. Oakland, don't just dangle this carrot in front of us. Oh, we'll give you a new stadium. So they're playing the game there. Other pro baseball news real quick. We talked about last week the 5-year anniversary of Big Sexy's home run. He has been pitching down in the Mexican League. He turns 48 next week on the 24th, week and a half. And he's been pitching in the spring leagues in Mexico. And in fact, his line from his game the other week, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, and 2 strikeouts for Bartolo Colon at the age of 48. Which got me thinking, if he doesn't make it in the Mexican League down there, could Big Sexy pitch it in the Olympics? Would that just be beautiful? If Mexico made it, he played on the national team, or he has something to do coaching with the team maybe, because he's still, if you follow his Twitter account, he's still working out all the time. He's still trying to stay in shape best he can. He's still got a great arm. I mean, not major league caliber anymore. I think someone will have signed him, but good enough for the minors or for coaching anyway, I think. So it'll be exciting to see that.
Could he play in Minnesota for an over 35 men's baseball league? Boy, would that be fun to watch.
Yes. I'm
sure he's being actively scouted right now.
Yes. I would not, I don't know if maybe the Glencoe team or Hamburg, I don't know. I haven't heard. Put your people on that. Look into it. Make a few phone calls.
That.
Go to high school baseball here in Minnesota. And there's Class A rankings from Max Prep. These are as of the 14th. As you see, minimum 4 games played, so that's why the records are kind of diverse for some. So Class A, you got Randolph at first, New Ulm second. There's Bloom Prairie at 5. So yeah, Houston 7th, 0-13, because you got to have teams, and well, at least they're up there. That's it. So Randolph was 1 there. Move on down the list here. Double A, Rochester 1, Breck 2. There's Perham, St. Paul Central. So there's your Class 2A. Advance on to 3A, Bemidji number 1 at 6-0. Very good team up there. I've been watching some of their stuff. They could be the ones to watch this year, high school baseball. So there we go. There's Princeton, Minneapolis South, Apollos. There's some of the baseball. Minnesota State High School softball rankings. There's Rogers in first, Chanhassen 4, Prior Lake 7th, Hopkins 8. And yes, I had to go all the way down here, all the way down to number 25 to find Minnetonka, but they were on there. And then you got to look, you got to dig to find the home team, and that's what we got to do here. Division I baseball for college. That was all off Max Prep for high school. And this will be off the NCAA's website here for rankings. They show Arkansas first. I've been following Vanderbilt pretty close. They got some great pitchers on that staff. I would watch Vanderbilt when the playoffs come up in June for Division I, or just as you're going through, just follow them pretty close. Kind of like with basketball, you could lose and not go down the rankings watching baseball. So they're kind of too low for them. Let's say hit a big hot streak and Arkansas loses a few. I think your top 10 are basically be the same most of the year. Notre Dame's up there. Yeah, go down the ways here. There's Indiana at 21. Like the Big Ten schools are up there a lot, but they're still fun to watch in the playoffs. NCAA Division I softball rankings. There's Oklahoma at first. UCLA had 6 first place votes. Alabama 1. If you kind of scroll down here, there's Michigan 18. And there's the Gophers at 23rd. Gopher softball team doing very well this year. If you get a chance to watch them on Big Ten Network or any of the games, always good to watch the local girls do good there. Move on down the line to the pros. Here's the Major League standings. And I like these off the MLB site, like we said before. They kind of get in depth. Yeah, it's early, but here's the wild card standings and your streaks. Like we said before, if you could roll off 10, 12 wins in a row and play 500 the rest of the year, you're great. You're golden. You should win. The A's, you see down here, they had that long winning streak earlier. And funny, they're a game and a half in first place. Boston in the East, followed by the Yankees. Toronto. I mean, this is basically the same lineup every year, it seems like, in that division. But there you go. Yankees were one of the worst teams in the league 2 weeks ago. They're 21-17 now. That's just the Yankees for you. Tampa Bay 21-19 with a win last night against the Mets. So they're 3 out. I mean, it's going to be a tough division there. They talked about the National League East being tough. The AL East is going to be bad too, I think. Or not bad, but, tough. It's going to be bad for someone to have a good record and not make the playoffs. AL Central, they got the Chi Sox in first. Cleveland in second. I don't know what's going on there. Kansas City's dropped to 17-21. They're off to a great start, and they've kind of flustered lately. Here you see 1-9 in their last 10 games, so that's a good way to get you out of first place. You're 1-9, and their two teams are 8-2. They're going to pass you. Already 6.5 out. The Twins are already looking like they're getting their fantasy football team ready for next year. They're 12-24. I don't know what they're doing. A lot of the same staff is back, players, so I don't know what's going on there. AL West, like I said, there's the A's. Houston's coming back. Seattle, they're going to be 500 all year, but they're not going to be the easy win every year either, like they kind of have been in the past. And then the Angels, I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Angels. I feel so bad for Mike Trout being stuck there. Our generation's Ernie Banks, if you ask me. He's going to probably play his whole career there because he's just one of those guys, and he'll never get anything except MVPs, and that's it. National League, look at that. Mets are in first place. They had a good week, 7-3 right now. They lost last night. They had won 7-8 in a row, and then they went to Tampa last night, lost a one-run game. But Mets are doing well. Unfortunately, they started doing well once DeGrom went down, which is kind of scary. He had some sore in his side, nothing major, just giving him some rest, and he'll be all right. Mets are at first there. Tight division, it's going to be. Philadelphia half out, Atlanta 3. So there we go. As long as Washington's in last place, I'm happy. National League Central. Cardinals are just them in Milwaukee. That's going to be fun to watch this year. Milwaukee's got a better record or better team than that record, I think. They might come on late here in the year. Watch them. But let's just hope St. Louis doesn't pull too far away too early. Or else we'll be talking about Milwaukee for the wild card race instead. And the NL West was supposed to be the Padres-Dodgers show, and here's the Giants in first place, which is, again, kind of fun. That's how we play the games. We don't just write them on paper. So we'll see how those go there. Moving on from baseball, NASCAR this weekend at Dover. But what NASCAR does is, like I said, they have their 16 drivers for their playoffs at the end of the year. And we're about third in here, so we're going to start looking at the standings. The way it goes is for NASCAR, you win a race, you're in the playoffs. Then after that, it's most points. One of the rules is if there's 18 winners, it's the guys with most points. So just because you win, yeah, you're in, but you better hope you get multiple wins or someone else gets multiple wins. So if there's more than 16 winners, then it's total points. So that's how that goes. Here's our guys right now that are overall. There's Denny Hamlin. He hasn't won a race yet. A little asterisk means they've won a race. But so Denny's in. There's Truex. William Bryant. He's a good little racer right there. I like him. Keep an eye on him this year. He's probably going to get another win, I think, in the next couple weeks. Logano won, but, can't have everything. Kyle Larson, too, back from his suspension last year for saying things he shouldn't have said. So he was suspended for the year. He's back. Open arms. People are welcoming him back. He's got to win. I like watching him race. There's Chase Elliott, 8th. So we'll just keep an eye on some of these guys. Austin Dillon at 12. He hasn't won a race yet. Keep an eye on him. He will. He will get a win this year. That's that race standings right there. And I got one more thing here. Let me just put that there. You don't need that. That's my other stuff. Got some Canadian football news. The Edmonton Eskimos. You don't have to be a big fan of Canadian football. Probably heard that name. One of the storied franchise up there, Edmonton Eskimos. Well, since July 21st, Edmonton fans have anxiously wondered what will happen to the name and branding of their team. Much like the NFL's Washington Redskins, now Washington football team, the Edmonton Eskimos made the decision to change their name following the murder of George Floyd. I'm just going to stop there. It's trickled into the Canadian Football League now. I don't know. I don't know how much farther they're going to take this. Everybody else going off, I don't know. Just going to stop right there with those. So if you're watching, you want to start watching Canadian football again, and you hear another Eskimo or another, you don't hear the Eskimos, you hear Edmonton. It's like, oh, did they get a second team? No, they're changing their name, and they said they're going to keep their color scheme and everything else. Some of the possibilities for names: the Edmonton Evergreens, and I'm not ripping on minor league sports, but that sounds like a minor league baseball name. The Evergreens, not a pro team. The Eagles, the Elkhounds, the Eclipse, the Elk and Elks. Evergolds, the Elements, the Energy. That they sound minor league name-ish, not professional name-ish, not historic. But the Elk or Elks is kind of leading the race right now from what I've heard. Getting back to NASCAR a little bit, their ratings are up pretty big this year for TV ratings. They had their dirt track race this year, some other stuff. Now, granted, their ratings went down when they went to FS1, not on Fox. Big shocker there. You bury them on your cable channel, your ratings are going to go down. Now, and that's the thing that bothers me too, is with Fox or ESPN, stuff like that. You spend all this money for the NASCAR contract, put it on your main channel. Don't bury it on FS1 or your other stuff, or ESPN2 for your baseball game of the week, stuff like that. Make NASCAR on Fox all the time. And I'm okay with them splitting between them and NBC. Fine. I don't care. Put it on one of the major networks. Don't put it on your NBC Sports Network or FS1 or Bally Sports or whatever you're going to put it on. Keep it on your main channels. I think that's what kind of hurt baseball with the game of the week when ESPN bought every night's coverage. You can't get it on your local channels anymore. It's all cable for baseball now. And football's heading that way. After this year, Amazon Prime is going to have the Thursday night game. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 5 years you see the Super Bowl on cable, just because that's the way it's heading, and which is sad. That's just because there's so much commercial money, TV money made in football. If ESPN or Turner Sports buys the rights to the Super Bowl, put on their cable channel, they get that advertising money. Yeah, the NFL gets a cut of it too, don't get me wrong, but and so many people are getting rid of cable and going just to internet channels anyway. I'm surprised that the networks are letting this happen. Everybody's got cable, maybe keep it an antenna to watch TV or stuff. Why would you bury your major sports programs that you spent billions of dollars on your cable channel? I don't understand that part. That's just not me. Pro wrestling, a little update on that. AEW a couple weeks ago had it wasn't a pay-per-view, just their big Wednesday night show. They had a blood and guts, they called it. It was a big hoo-ha, big two-ring, big cage match. A lot of scuttlebutt after that from some people, because this was bad and that bad. Everybody picked it apart. You can't reinvent the wheel. I mean, yeah, they did the match. A lot of things in the match we've seen in the past in matches like that. It was still fun. It was still a good match. The guys did a good job. Don't get me wrong, but we've seen it. The ending. When it came to the ending, I was talking to Jason Inc. About it. We read it right off the bat. Once the two guys got on top, we knew exactly what was going to happen. Because unless it was your first time watching wrestling, you knew what was going to happen. And even if it was your first time, you had a good idea. Then their episode this week, they're kind of AEW, as much as it was so new and exciting and fresh when it started, they're kind of replaying a bunch of old WWF stuff that we've all seen in the past. And the reason we quit watching that, they're now doing on their storylines. Like I said, it's that roller coaster for their storylines that they've had. They'll be great for a few weeks. Their Blood and Guts a couple weeks ago was the highest rated cable show for the day. You don't get that in pro wrestling much anymore, so hats off to them for doing it. Congratulations. And everybody goes, oh, the ratings dropped to 900,000. Well, yeah, because they just did a record million the week before, So, sorry. But the ratings might drop a little now because you have the great show. You can't keep that up all the time. That's going to go up and down, up and down. Kind of like with a sports team, with the exception of the Patriots, you're going to have a good 4 or 5 year run, but then you got to rebuild for a while. You can only run these guys so much, and then it's going to slip down.
Andy, you cut out there for a minute. Andy, you're stuck.
I'm like, ooh, he took a...
Go back about 10 seconds, Andy.
Yep.
You froze up for a second.
Ricky Starks a couple of weeks ago was in a match, and he took a bad bump. A bump was when you land wrong, or land. I think he landed wrong, and he finished the match. I'm like, he's going to be sore the next day. And he put on his Twitter account, hey, thanks, everybody, I'm fine. I do my DDPY yoga. DDPY, he calls it. DDP yoga. He goes, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling fine. Nothing wrong. Came a couple weeks later. He did, I don't want to say broke his neck, but hurt his neck really bad. They said there was no breaks because he got a lot of neck injuries. So he's going to be out a while. So that's kind of sad right there. Great guy, great potential. Here's the ups and downs. Everybody's getting excited about this guy. Now it's an injury. Just like in any sport, they get injured, he'll have to come back. So we'll see how that comes back. Now we'll see how he does there. He's a good young wrestler. They got a lot of young talent there. If you're into the old indie wrestling, that's where you get a lot of their guys from. They have their show on Wednesday nights on TV, on TNT, and the cable channels. But if you got their YouTube channel, Monday and Tuesday nights, they have other shows on too that kind of highlight I don't want to say they're lesser talented guys, but the lesser talented guys. It's kind of like their minor league in a way. You'll see them pop up every now and then, but it's fun to watch. If you enjoy pro wrestling, those are the shows to watch too. Kind of like if you enjoy baseball, you don't mind watching A ball or double A ball instead of just me. You'll appreciate it. So you can see the young guys working, how they do it. Going behind the curtain or behind the fourth wall, they say. Some of their talk shows they have on the internet, these guys are explaining stuff behind the scenes, which I kind of like because it helps get people into the sport more to understand what's going on. So that's that. Speaking of injuries and stuff like that, Chris Jericho from the band Fozzy, he also wrestles in AEW. In that blood and guts match, the ending was he was pushed off the top of the cage. Landed, and everyone's like, "Oh, we could see the crash pads underneath there. Oh, that's fake. That's crap." Well, his nice safe landing dislocated his elbow. So he's got a big sling on that for 6 weeks, and everybody's going, "Well, see, it's not a real injury because he's gonna be in another match now coming up in a few weeks for their other pay-per-view." Well, the match they're having is what they call Stadium Stampede, and they've done it in the past. And it's kind of with the whole pandemic, what they call theatrical wrestling now. Pretty sure they're filming it this week or next. They film them ahead of time, so they cut. Because Stadium Stampede, long story longer, AEW is owned by the Khan family who own the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they've been doing other stuff filmed at Daly's Place, which is a little building right next to the Jaguar Stadium. Stadium Stampede is a match in the stadium, on the football field, with no fans there, of course, because it's the whole stadium. So you could film pieces here and there and cut back, and which they did last year. So if Jericho's arm is in a sling, you could just always. It's like the pregnant woman in a TV show. They only show her from the chest up, or something. They don't show the belly if her character is not pregnant. This is the same thing. He'll just do one-armed stuff or kicks and things. So it'd be very safe. They won't hurt his arm. It's going to be well done, I'm pretty sure, because they could work around it. In sports, though, with wrestling, they'll be safe. Don't worry about it. Horse racing, on the other hand, I just heard today, as we know, the Kentucky Derby horse winner, drug use. They found steroids in him, and I don't know enough about horse racing to say that's common or not. But when you win, if you're fourth and they find you had drugs, no one cares. When you win and they find out you're on drugs, that's an issue. And I guess I was kind of curious about it. I saw some other posts. The way horse racing and the betting goes, that day, that horse won, they paid out. Well, now they found out he was on drug or steroids. So if you had the winning ticket and you said, "Hey, the horse that got second place, I had him winning. Do I get the winner's purse now for cashing in?" No, you don't. You get second place money. So kind of like college football, they took a championship away from a team. "Hey, wait, I bet on the other team." Too bad. You can't go back and get your money for the difference. So be a neat ticket to have, to hold on to say, "Hey, I told you," but you didn't pick the other horse to lose because of steroids. You just didn't think he'd win. So because that was kind of a thing I was reading about what would happen. Yeah, Bob Baffert, the owner or trainer for that horse, this isn't the first time he's had that problem. The Belmont today, he's not going to be there, but his horse is able to race in it. He's passed like 4 tests on the road this week and everything else. So he is going to be there. If he wins, he's not going to get Triple Crown. Looks like they stripped away the Kentucky Derby win, from what I understand. I hope that horse doesn't win. I hope he doesn't win the next 2. Because I don't need to see horse racing with an asterisk by a champion at the end of the year now either. Oh, he kind of won the Triple Crown, but he lost this one. I mean, I don't want ill to happen to a horse, but I just hope he gets like second or third and just it's going to go away for that. I do have some concert information here coming up. First of all, Hairball. We're all familiar with Hairball. They'll be playing July 3rd in Duluth at Bayfront Festival, lot of the bands are at Hairball will be up there, so if you want to look at that, if you're going up to the Duluth area for the 4th of July, check that out. Korn and Stained are going on tour. There's no Minnesota dates yet. Like a lot of bands now with CDC lifting all their stuff for the summer, I think you're going to see a lot of concerts come popping up real quick. I checked out a few. A lot of Medina has nothing listed right now for a while. They're just their Thursday stuff. But I think you're going to start seeing stuff pop up here for the summer if bands want to get back out there. Hollywood Boulevard is another cover band here in Minnesota. They'll be playing at the Anoka County Fair at the Beer Gardens July 23rd. Also, the Red River County Fair up north, they're going to be playing. Styx is going to be up there. I saw Kiefer Band's going to be up there. Kicks, Rat. So check that out. We've put some of that on our Facebook page too. If you're heading up that direction. Also, Lakefront Days in Prior Lake. Styx will be there also. So 38 Specials playing there, I believe, too. So some of the older bands are coming back. I think you're going to see a lot of these town festivals, bands coming back, cover bands playing, getting the rust off and getting back out there, getting back to a normal. There is one I haven't read the full story. The band LA Guns. I know Dan did an album review for them a while ago. They know it go by Riley's LA Guns. I guess there was it's like with Styx. Tommy Shaw's kind of leading Styx, but he's not one of the original members. A lot of these bands still have the name, and that's fine. That's great. Don't get me wrong. There's a band called KK Priest. KK Downey from Judas Priest has got his own band out now. They don't do Judas Priest songs, but it's the same type of sound. He didn't go more hair band rock or bluesy or country. It's still Judas Priest, in your face metal. So if you see them out, nothing's wrong with the band. He just went on his own. Rob Halford is still with Priest, and they're still doing their thing. So just a different group, kind of like when the lead singer goes and does a solo album and then comes back. I think this is kind of his thing. But I heard some songs on it. What was it called? Sermons of the Sinner, it's called. Sermons of the Sinner, KK Priest's band. Give that a listen on Spotify if you can find it soon. Coming out in a couple weeks. That should be very good. I know Slaughter re-released an album this week on vinyl. You're going to see a lot of bands, I think, doing that because they're coming up on their 25, 30, 35-year anniversary of their albums. And they might be doing some re-releases on that. Very exciting stuff there to look forward to. Slaughter, Kiss My Wax Records is the site for the Slaughter one to get their information. So that's, like I said, very exciting to hear some of these bands coming back. Like I said, Medina didn't see. I just checked right for the show. Nothing on their site for weekend shows. They are, if you're into flea markets, they have that every Sunday out there, except for next Sunday, the 23rd. The Hams Festival will be back at Medina.
What date?
Next Sunday, the 23rd.
Okay.
So not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow.
Okay.
So
get that on the calendar.
Yes. Might take the lovely bride out there and show her some of the fine artwork.
Great date day for that. Very
romantic.
Yes.
Take the brides out, go down to Roberts for something to eat afterwards, and that's that. I don't have a person of the week this week. I'm going to do that Tuesday because I had this week come up. Ray Miller, former manager of Major League Baseball, he was with the Twins for a while. He passed away. He was a great pitching coach, a great coach for the years. And Uncle Coach Burnsy, Jerry Burns, passed away. He was with the Packers for Super Bowl I and II as a coaching staff. He was here with the Vikings for years as an assistant offensive coordinator for years. He had Bob Schnelker's back. Don't blame Bob Schnelker for that. So, yeah, I'll have a little thing about Burnsy and about Ray Miller on Tuesday's Instagram special, page 2. And then if there's ever someone like that you want to say, hey, why don't you pay tribute to this guy or something, please let us know. We'll bring it up. But so that's what I got. Like I said, high school baseball is kicking off. We saw the rankings. Check that out. Town ball teams are out. Go check those guys out. They're great to watch. Fun time with the kids and the family there. Olympics, the baseball tournaments are still going on. The qualifying for all those. There is some talk in Tokyo of some people, geez, I don't know if we should have the Olympics. They got to do something pretty soon, make an official decision here. Because I feel bad for these guys who trained to be in it last year and it got canceled. Some of these athletes, I'm going to take gymnasts, track, swimming, those guys, for example. Your window of when you could do this is very limited. And if you're blessed enough to have, hey, I peak at the age of 19 and that's when the Olympics are, I'm in, you can't wait 2 more years. Some of these sports, when you're 21, 22, you're kind of old. I mean, gymnastics. There's the one gal who's still on it there, but really after the age of 17, you're done. Track, after a certain age, you're done. So I feel kind of bad for those guys. I hope they can get something in this year. If not an Olympics, in the next 6 months, they could throw together a World Baseball Championship, a World Swimming Championship. So these athletes can get something in. I hope the best for them on that. That's my ramblings for the day. Any other sports news before we get to the trivia answer?
Yes, I've got 4 quick sports notes.
Take your time.
Twins AA affiliate, Minnesota Twins in Wichita. The Wichita Wind Surge, brand new this year. Their general manager resigned after 2 games.
Oh.
I'm not sure what the deal was with that or not. Remember, Wichita was the team that built the brand new stadium to attract a AAA minor league affiliate team in their city. Put in a lot of money, ready to open in 2020. The pandemic hit, no baseball in minor leagues. Their brand new stadium sat empty in 2020. Then they find out after the reorganization of minor league baseball that they were awarded a AA team, which they were kind of let down about because they wanted AAA.
Right.
They get the Twins. They're doing pretty good so far after the first week or so. But the general manager resigns after 2 days. So hopefully I'll have more on that next week. I'm not sure what the circumstances was around that, but they really had some fun things planned, a good team there. I'm not sure what went on, but that's certainly strange to see something like that.
Yeah.
They've got a person in there now as the interim, but we'll monitor that. The Twins and the A's, I'm wearing the cap. Who would have thought the Oakland A's have the most wins in Major League Baseball?
Started 0-6.
Started out, yes. And so you never know where you're going to go. They have an easy time now this weekend playing the Twins, who have the least number of wins in all of baseball. The least. So anyway, Oakland's doing very well. You never know with baseball what's going to happen. And after this coming week, Andy, for next week's show, we'll be right at that 1/4 of the way through the season. All the teams will have 40 games in by next week's show, and maybe we can put together our what-if scenarios a quarter of the way through for playoffs. But Oakland sure looks good. Now, Shohei Ohtani, we covered him a couple weeks ago, the all-star pitcher, DH, hitter, outfielder for the Angels. He's so good. He started this last week pitching. Pitched, I don't know if he went 6 or 7 innings, struck out 10 guys. Said, I'm still good. I'll play the rest of the game in right field. It's just, they keep him in the lineup. Arm's not sore. He goes in to play right field. Now they go to Boston this week. They go to Fenway. He hit a home run opposite field over the monster.
I saw that this morning, yeah.
Over the green monster. This is Ohtani, an opposite field home run. So that guy is something else to watch. He's just a phenom. Now, the other thing, we talked about this last week, Andy, the John Elway. Remember the NFL draft took place in 1983. Guess what came in the mail from eBay for me here this week?
Uh-oh. There it is.
I ordered the card, came on eBay, the John Elway outfielder baseball card when he played in the minor leagues for the New York Yankees. Check that out.
There it is.
I wanted to get it in my collection there. The rare one season that John Elway played in the New York Mets farm system
Yankees.
as an outfielder.
Yankees system, not Mets.
What did I say? Mets, Yankees system. And so that's a rare card. I'm going to add it to my sports memorabilia collection, but had to get that. Now, the last thing I've got for news before we get to the trivia question, has anyone, the listeners out there, listened to this recent PJ Fleck Golden Gopher football practices, unnecessary roughness, they called it. Practices are too rough. People are getting hurt. And I'll do a quick overview for the listeners who haven't heard the story. There was a professor at the University of Minnesota, a history professor, been there 20 years, had a lot of undergraduates come through that were on the football team. And he'd see various neck braces, crutches, braces on ankles, forearms, and thought, boy, what are these injuries from? And started talking to the students, and they said, well, we're on the Minnesota Gopher football team, and we haven't played a game yet, but these are all injuries just from practice. And so this professor took it upon himself to kind of monitor how many injuries are coming in from practices, and it seemed to be a lot. So he brought it up to the Gophers Board of Regents, and somehow the story leaked out to WCCO. WCCO says, oh, this could be a good story here. This could sell. We're going to put our WCCO investigative team on this, and we'll look into this. They said, yep, some of the practices are hard. PJ Fleck runs a tough ship, and they're getting injured. And some of these players have never even been in a game, and their careers are ruined because of the injuries. So before they release this story to the news, they have it double-checked. They have it vetted out to say, you know what, it does seem like a lot of injuries, but what's the normal amount of injuries on a Division I football team in the Big Ten? They did the studies. It came back. They said these are all the other teams have the same number of injuries. It's not out of line. It's really not even a story. Well, WCCO, someone decided to say, yeah, but it's juicy enough. Let's run it. Let's run the story. And they did. But they failed to mention that the studies have been done that other football programs have the exact same amount of injuries. So this professor who's no longer with the university, I don't know if there was trying to discredit PJ Fleck, if someone had a bone to pick with the football program. But keep in mind when we watch these fake news articles that come out, there's two sides of the story.
Yes.
I think someone was out to get PJ Fleck to make him look bad.
Right.
And so they get all this done. The studies show there's nothing out of line with his practices compared to any other practices. It's football. It's a contact sport. You're going to get injured. You're going to get hurt. Yep. It seems kind of fishy. If I was to get on my soapbox, I would just say, by the time management at WCCO got the story, found out it was a non-story, they should have pulled it. Should have pulled the plug on even running it, even airing it.
Yep.
But someone there decided to go with it and give it the green light and actually air the story. So they did. I checked again today. It's the second or third leading story on the sports in the Star Tribune, Pioneer Planet. But we have to keep in mind that it's a non-story. There's nothing out of bounds on that story. So the headline is unnecessary roughness. Does Fleck run an aggressive preseason training program? And the answer is no, he doesn't. So I think they were either out to get him or someone had a bone to pick with the program.
With the athletic department or something, yeah.
Unfortunately, CCO, the journalists at CCO decided to run the story, which I would call it a non-story. But it's sad to see.
Well, first of all, you're playing football. It's preseason, you've had no season, so it's preseason. So it's like anything else. Beginning of season, all athletes, all branches, pros to high school, guys get hurt. I don't care what the sport is: football, hockey, baseball, basketball. Now Now, when it comes to college or pro level, you think, okay, this is your sport. You should kind of be in shape all the time. But you know what? It happens to anybody. Work injuries, you could get hurt walking to the car. It doesn't mean you shouldn't walk. I mean, these guys are football players. They knew this when they signed up. There's a very good chance I might not walk normally after this. They knew that when they signed up to play football. Mommy and daddy knew that when they were 8 and they put them in football. So it's not breaking news to anyone there. I agree. That teacher probably had something against either PJ or the athletic department or something. I don't know if now you said the teacher's resigned all of a sudden?
No, he's no longer with the university.
No longer the
Yeah, so I don't know.
He's going to take the general manager job for the Twins AA. I don't know, but
the professor has no background in sports or athletics at all. He's a history professor, so he just took it upon himself to monitor it. I got no beef with that. He interviewed and talked to the students. I've got no beef with that. It is legit. But
I mean, curiosity got a little bit, yeah.
Somehow it leaked to the press, and they thought they had a juicy story. But of course, before they decide to run it, they do double check and find out the statistics are not out of line with any other colleges. They're right in the ballpark. And then someone decides to still, give it the green light to publish the article. So it's a letdown. But once again, we got to watch what we see on news media because, you got to see the full story.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't blame that teacher. I get it. Curiosity comes up. I'll give you a little more grain of salt if maybe he was like, I used to be a high school football coach, or I used to play high school football, so I kind of but he had sounds like he had zero sports knowledge or background.
Zero.
So yeah, like I said, I could see it if he was a former coach or player and he thought, God, this seems kind of high. Okay, I could see that piquing your interest a little more, but
he'd be credible.
Yeah, too. I probably would have not put us a lot of time into it, but would have looked up a little bit before I opened my mouth to somebody else. But yeah, that's kind of sad in a way too. From what I understand, PJ Fleck's a decent guy. Doesn't deserve that. No one deserves that, really. I mean, it's not like he's Bobby Knight who got lambasted for stuff all over, but you know what? Bobby Knight was known for it, and people still sent their kids to his college to coach. When he was at Indiana or Texas Tech, mom, dad still said, go play their son. Bobby Knight's a great coach, even though he was kind of a temperamental, we'll say.
That's safe. So that was my story for the week there for that. That's all I've got for sports. Are we ready for the trivia answer?
Trivia answer. Like I said, South Dakota State, Sam Houston, championship game. Sam Houston's mostly Texas kids, 0 Minnesotans.
So the FCS championship, South Dakota State Bunnies, the Jackrabbits, are in the title game for the first time ever. Big roster, but once again, very regional. They draw from a regional Midwest. The question is, how many Minnesotans are on that team? The answer is 17. 17 on the roster are playing for the Jackrabbits for a national title. And they come from all over. I mean, 3 alone from Cottage Grove, 2 from Marshall. They're from Rosemount, Lakeville South, Osseo, Hopkins, Jordan. Marlon Wiley from Jordan, tremendous athlete in track and football, signed up, committed to go to South Dakota State for track. Switched it up. They talked to him, became the wide receiver now on the football team, and is not doing track. But he's on the football team. Now he's playing for a national title.
The next Willie Ball.
Other kids are Andover, Tartan, other schools, Chisago Lakes, Waseca, Hopkins, Jackson County, Wayzata, St. Francis. So a lot of kids here going to have a fun game they'll never forget tomorrow in the title.
All right. Good for them. And you look at that for especially the FCS or Division II, whatever you want to call it, for football. If you looked at a school based out of Oregon, it's going to be mostly kids from Oregon in that Pacific Northwest area. If you look at the Bison roster, the Jackrabbits roster, I'm sure there's one kid from Florida, someone from California. Not a lot, maybe a couple. They don't travel. And a lot of it is these schools don't have the money to be sending you cross-country, coast to coast for athletes. So you pick from your area. You shop at the grocery store close to you in town. I don't go to Duluth because they got a great sale on milk. Okay, I stay here. So same thing with the college sports and smaller schools like that is you pick what's close by. But now your Sony Walkman this week, has that been busy? What's been in there this week?
The album of the week is Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger, 1991. I'll bring it up here. Share the screen. Bad Motorfinger is the third studio album by the American rock band Soundgarden, released September 1991 on the same day as Nirvana Nevermind.
Wow, that's right.
I didn't even know that.
I know it was the same.
This of course
season.
Got second billing and flew under the radar, but boy, Red Hot Chili Peppers and Pearl Jam were releasing albums in the same month or two that really gave the boost to the Seattle scene, the grunge scene, the alternate music scene. 1991 is when this whole thing basically took off. And keep in mind, this was Soundgarden's third album, so they're also known as the godfathers of grunge. They were already around. They were released in 1991 through A&M Records. Soundgarden began the recording sessions for the album with a brand new bassist named Ben Shepherd. Ben Shepherd's joined the band in the spring of 1991. The album maintained the band's heavy metal sound while featuring an increased focus on songwriting as compared to the band's previous releases. All Music considered the album's music to be surprisingly cerebral and arty. I do agree with that. There's some tough topics they touch on the lyrics here. This is not just a heavy metal headbanging. They touch on some very interesting topics here. They also deal with alternative tunings and odd time signatures are present on several of the album's songs. And the lyrics are intended to be ambiguous and to create imagery. I wouldn't really call it LSD drug, but there's a lot of topics and some imagery that's really out there. I like it, but you have to get used to this album. It's not one that you're going to like the first time through. The focus on the Seattle grunge scene helped bring attention to Bad Motorfinger. The singles Outshined and Rusty Cage were able to find an audience in rock radio and MTV. Bad Motorfinger became the band's highest charting album at the time on the Billboard 200. The band supported the album with the tour of North America and Europe, including opening up for Guns N' Roses on their band's Use Your Illusion tour. In 1992, Bad Motorfinger was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Metal Performance. The album was certified double platinum. Now this album, I'm going to go through the songs, but this album is 57 minutes and 42 seconds long. And it's not like there's ballads and instrumentals on it.
It's go.
It's 12 songs, and they're mainly 4 to 6 minutes long. It's almost an entire hour of music. Here's the track listings. Song 1, Rusty Cage. Johnny Cash, later covered that song.
Yes.
Rusty Cage, very well done. But that's an original Soundgarden, Chris Cornell song. Outshine is the song that features the lyric, I'm looking California, but feeling Minnesota. That became a huge phrase, a huge staple. And that's a Chris Cornell lyric there. That was used in the song Outshined. Song 3 is Slaves and Bulldozers. Song 4 is Jesus Christ Pose. Song 5 is Face Pollution. 6, Somewhere. Song 7, Searching with My Good Eye Closed. Once again, you're dealing with your mind's eye, your third eye there on that one. Next song, one could argue it's an LSD song, but the song is called A Room 1,000 Years Wide. Very interesting, very interesting. Song 9 is Mind Riot. Song 10 is Drawing Flies. Song 11 is Holy Water. And song 12 is New Damage. The players here, Chris Cornell, lead vocals. It's coming up on his 4-year anniversary of his death.
Wow.
4 years ago, Chris Cornell died following a show at In Detroit, the guitarist is Kim Thale, bassist Ben Shepherd, drummer Matt Cameron. Matt Cameron, you'll know from Pearl Jam. A lot of these bands, they interchange guys. Ben Shepherd, before he joined the band, his favorite band was Soundgarden. And then the bassist left. He comes in on the third album and begins to comes in the band. And I think they got a different kind of a sound when he came in. I've seen this band live once, and it's fun. Ben Shepherd's a great bassist. Now, here's the songs they released. Song 1, Jesus Christ Pose, they released. Didn't get any airplay. MTV pulled it because it was controversial. And the band started getting death threats. And so really the song is just simply about Jesus Christ Pose. It was written about famous people who go on to exploit the symbol of Jesus' crucifixion to suggest that they're persecuted by the public and they're better than others. Very famous people you'll see, actors, rich people wearing their crucifix and wearing their cross to say that, you know what, I'm a little higher than the rest of you folks.
Yep.
It's making fun of those people. Well, people took it the wrong way. And then the song Outshine is going from periods of extreme self-confidence to plummeting in the opposite direction. Then they also released, so that was released second, and then Rusty Cage was released third. Those three songs really plummeted, jumped way up. Outshine and Rusty Cage got a lot of airplay on MTV. Jesus Christ Pose didn't, although they put a lot of time and money and budget into that video. Never saw an airing once.
Can you YouTube that video, do you think?
You can still YouTube it. Yep, it's out there. It's very well done, but you have to understand what the song is getting at.
Yep.
Guitarist Kim Thale has even called this album the heavy metal version of the White Album from the Beatles.
Ooh, that's a big statement.
That's a big statement. And the song New Damage subtly hints at the faceless prison. The lyrics call the faceless poison of the New World Order. They're talking about some topics in 1991 that people haven't even thought of back then. Now, the album title, Bad Motorfinger, Kim Thale suggested it as a joke. They're making fun of the song from Montrose called Bad Motor Scooter. Bad Motor Scooter. Montrose. He said we should name the album Bad Motorfinger. They agreed to it and did it. It's got a little different images to it, whatever you want to call it. It's very vague. You can come up with whatever you want for these songs and titles. They leave it open. In April 2019, the album Bad Motorfinger was currently ranked number 2 on Rolling Stone's top 50 greatest grunge albums of all time. Number 2. And the last thing here, Chris Cornell said when they're opening for Guns N' Roses on their tour, a lot of the audience and the fans still hadn't heard of Soundgarden or even heard of them as a band or their songs. Chris Cornell says it wasn't a whole lot of fun going in front of 40,000 fans and playing for 35 minutes every day when most of them hadn't even heard our songs and didn't care about them. He said it was a very bizarre thing, playing the opening band and the fans just standing there like who are you guys? Very, very bizarre. That's the album of the week. Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger.
That's one word, isn't it?
Yes.
And now, Chris, in case you're looking it up, so everybody know that. Now, Chris Cornell, when he passed, didn't they just play Minnesota the night before? They were on their way here, I thought. I know he passed in Detroit. They
had played Minnesota maybe the week before.
Okay.
They were in the Midwest. Maybe it was a couple days before, but they finished in Detroit. And
Minnesota's had a bad.
Their encore was one of their best songs, "Slaves and Bulldozers," and that gets Slaves and Bulldozers really gets into the lyrics of there's two classes of people: those bulldozing through, basically not bullies, but those doing whatever they want, and slaves that are slaves to the system. You do anything, you're just saying yes to anything that happens. So there's no real middle ground. There's either a slave or a bulldozer. They played that song, and the encore was the last song they played at the encore on that very last show. Now, the very last song they played was a cover song of Led Zeppelin called "In My Time of Dying," and
Oh,
so
wow.
people put that together thinking that Cornell was suicidal and whatnot, but they did a lot of good Led Zeppelin cover songs. But
Yeah,
they
they
found him
were
the
very.
next morning with an exercise band around his neck in the bathroom. And so that was 4 years ago. Coming up on Tuesday is the 4-year anniversary of Chris Cornell's death.
They were kind of known as a thinking man's metal, if you will, because you had to. It meant something. They weren't just words.
They said a lot of bands at the time were putting songs out, of course, with lyrics about booze, partying, and women. The basic, hard rock stuff. But these lyrics were taking it to a whole another level. I didn't even like the grunge scene until later in life. I was in my mid-30s before I even was introduced to any of these.
A little late to the party.
I was late to the party, but really enjoyed what these guys have to offer and have a new respect for bands like this.
Yep.
That's all I've got.
All right. Yeah, that Minnesota kind of had a bad rap for a few years there with musicians dying in our state. Guy from Def Leppard passed away here. We had like a bad run for a couple of years there. That's why I thought with Cornell too. I knew they were just here like a few days before that, or were on their way. Something was ringing a bell to me on that. But yeah, that's all I got. I said Tuesday, I'll do the Coach Miller and Coach Burns memorials, if you will.
Uncle Burnsy.
Uncle Coach Burnsy. And stuff like that. Just one more thing. I was looking back at the archives. And for some reason, we last year on this one too, we did this show on your birthday. So happy birthday, sir.
Thank you. I kind of picked my own present when I bought tickets for the wife to go to the Saints game tonight. I'm looking forward to see AAA baseball. I asked her, I said, I hope you're open because I'd like to take you to a ball game today. I've already bought the tickets, so
yeah,
myself.
Yes.
And I'm a big Soundgarden fan, so I wanted to pick an album review of a personal favorite. So
yes.
Fun stuff. I'll have a good birthday with you guys next week, and so Andy does the Tuesday show. I do the midweek Wednesday. Look for those out there on YouTube and Instagram.
All right, we will see you guys next week.
Keep your comments below and put in requests as well. Thanks and have a good week.
Yep, see you now.
See ya.